you are a former priest, and I have heard you say you believe the church itself has become corrupted by greed.
Well, yes. I mean, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and in my local experience of the Catholic Church in a small town in Minnesota, I found what the church meant to me and what religion meant to me was fear, authority, constriction, and I never heard anyone talk about what would be considered agapic love, love for its own sake, love without strings. It was all to do with authority and all to do with obedience and fear of committing sin, lest you be condemned, even though the sins that you could go to hell for were incredibly minor. I mean, this created in me, let's say, as a 6 or 7-year-old learning about these things, terrible fear. Like I was doomed. How can you live a life where you don't go to hell? Because it's so easy to go to hell. Now, to me, that is an abuse. And that's an abuse of something that has forgotten about agape to a great extent.
Yeah. But how is that the same as greed?
Because the abuse has arisen out of those who want to take power, whether it's in terms of parenthood or is in terms of hierarchy, whatever it may be. Power and authority takes a place that it should not have in human life and represses the notion that people should find their way to expand, find their values, and follow them.
Now, as I recall, in Peirce's essay about the greed of the 19th century, he even used the phrase, I might be wrong, but I believe he used the phrase that people in that era had come to see greed as a good thing.
Yes, he was saying that. He called it the philosophy of greed, which says that if you follow your own self-interest, and he had identified this with Darwinian approach to evolution, if you follow your own self-interest, that'll be to the good of everyone. Everyone will profit from that.
That idea, as far as I know, was enunciated most clearly by Adam Smith, the philosopher of capitalism, back in I guess it would have been the 18th century, in which he talked about the invisible hand, that when everybody pursues their own economic self-interest, the entire society benefits economically.
Yes, and we see that is not true. And we see that is the very definition of greed, and that's, in my opinion, the great accomplishments of the human race have been a result of agape, and the great horrors and destructiveness and the pernicious acts that the human race has been able to do are the result of greed. Eros without conscience.
Eros without conscience. In other words, I want it all. I want it all now.
There is no conscience, because the conscience of Eros is agape, and it's gone. Yeah.
Satisfy me more and more and more.
That's right.
In fact, I know you quote a passage from Key Largo in which a gangster is talking and saying, what do you want? I want more.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's a marvelous scene. Edward G. Robinson's the gangster. You couldn't get him any better than that. And it's Humphrey Bogart who says this about him. Edward G. Robinson is asked, what do you want anyway? Like they're discovering what he's trying to manipulate there. And he says, well, I want, and he doesn't really have an answer. And Bogart comes in and said, I know what it is. You want more. He says, yeah, that's it. I want more. I really want more. And Lionel Barrymore says, and you will never get enough, will you, Rocco? And he says, we'll never have. No, I guess I won't. To me, that's a terrific statement of greed. More, because it's insatiable. Greed is insatiable. Eros without restraint, you just want to enhance yourself more and more and more.
And on the other hand, with just a little bit of agape, that can be a positive thing.
Of course. This is the desire to be enhanced, the desire to grow and evolve that Eros contains is very important for life. Absolutely. It's just the losing of agape. And this is why when I see, for instance, in the news, when I see people who really are showing love and loving concern for each other, I mean, it stands out these days.